they put a cap on how much manure and how much salt. To tell you all that we want all of these companies shut down because how bad they are for our community. But today we're demanding that this one gets shut down immediately. They have been to court. I spoke with DEM, and DEM, Department of Environmental Management, told me that they have been to court more than 50 times. More than 50 times. Because they keep polluting and they keep throwing stuff in the bay and throwing stuff in the little creek that's back here and all of this stuff. Look at it. You can look at it. All of that stuff is leaking and going into the bay, going into the air. Now, what happens to you if you own a house or you rent an apartment and you have it like this dump here? What happens? You get shut down. Your house gets condemned. Poor people get their houses and their apartments condemned all the time because they have them in conditions that are not workable and livable. And these people can just hear and make a mockery of the community. And we're saying today, enough is enough. Southside and Washington Park have the right to clean water, to clean air, to a water view. Right now, there's a lot of organizing around water access rights. And down there in Newport, that's a big thing. You take the water access, and that's a huge thing. And what do we got here in South Providence for water access? Nothing. We have nothing. Enough is enough. We're saying shut all of them down. Start with the most dangerous and bad. Now this might seem like a little company compared to the other one. We want that shut down too. We want all of them to leave, and we want to start with the ones that have been polluting the most, the ones that have been working without a permit. Although we do know that permits really don't mean jack because some of these people, a lot of these people have permits and they still continue to pollute us. But anyways, I think our children, black and brown children in Providence, deserve clean air, clean water, safety. Look at how close these tanks are. There's tanks right behind there. There's pipes going up and down here. If the fire department wouldn't have come quick enough, God only knows what would have happened. Okay, because it was just fire all over and the chemicals. So not only the fire, not only the fumes, right, the toxic chemicals, but the actual fire. If it would have went this way, some of these tanks had 14-mile evacuation radiuses and 3-mile evacuation. What is 14 miles? It's all of Providence. It's Fall River. It's East Providence. So I ask everybody to continue to support us, to come out, be in protest, come out, sign the petitions, really be at not only doing this on the regular, but also put in place good politicians that will actually protect us and the people and the land in Southside and Washington Park. Put policies in place to protect us. Right now we had a lot of policies at the State House with Renew, and rescue Rhode Island at? And there was a lot of people that came out, and we had at one of them 3 or 4 or 5 hours of testimony of people saying we want better, we want better. So let's do better, right? Let's do better and do it in our own homes. Let's start. We want to do it everywhere, but we know that we have to start in the most marginalized places. We have to start with the black and brown community. We have to start in Southside. We have to start in Washington Park to really transform and see the world that we want to be. And this is not some hocus pocus like recycle and earth and tree hug and stuff. Yes, it is, but it's more than that, right? It's literally our health. The kids that have asthma, the lead in our water, the scrap. Some people may say, oh, well, what does that have to do? But it's all related because they put these unwanted chemicals in unwanted storages with unwanted people. And I'm saying we are wanted. We want ourselves. We love ourselves. Right? So anyway, thank you. Let me know any of my community members want to speak. On behalf of community members, please step up. Tell us why you're here. Tell us what we're going to do to do better.
Sorry if it's hard to hear.
All right, well, y'all can speak whenever you want. Let me know. Thank you for being here.
Monica, can you take your picture against this over here? Yeah. Maybe this banner on the other side. Take a picture of their sign.
Okay. You want the back?
Just Scrap petition. Bit.ly/Just Scrap petition everywhere you want to. Every place that I've ever been. Okay, the weird thing is that it's
Just get the back of your shirt.
Oh,
sorry. I'm trying to get out of your way. Yeah, no, I appreciate it.
This guy's following me. Oh my God, I can't get out of his way.
Shut the scrap! 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 Shut the scrap!
People are chanting "Shut the scrap," referring to this scrapyard where the submarine fire recently occurred.
Absolutely, you are a hometown hero.
Alright, everybody, I just want to say something. So, I'm going to try to speak loudly so you can hear me, but this bridge right here, this is the bridge where a truck full of fuel overturned, came up on the on-ramp, flipped over. You can see where the guardrail is missing. That's where the guardrail was knocked out. This truck leaked a whole bunch of fuel. Thousands of gallons came flowing back down the on-ramp, down to the street. Ultimately, most of it ended up in the bay. Okay, that was only like a year or so ago, 2 years. Further up the street, there are some train tracks that are crossing. That's where a chemical train derailed. That chemical train didn't leak any toxic substances, thankfully, but it totally derailed. It was listing on its side. Bad things that happen. The chemicals they bring in here are so dangerous that you don't even want to be in the vicinity of them when they leak. Never mind have them on top of you. Then, further up the past the other scrapyard, behind that strip club that's on the right, that's where a pipeline exploded.
Yes.
That is the Enbridge pipeline, the end of line 3, not line 3, I'm sorry, it's Enbridge, the same company that's trying to build line 3. Okay, pipeline goes all the way through, cuts through Barville, goes into Massachusetts, cuts into the Port of Providence. Right there, that's the terminus, and that's where it exploded. It was open and alive and shooting thousands of gallons of LNG. I think it was LNG, but anyway, a whole bunch of that gas for over an hour. Over an hour. The toxic sludge they left on there made them have to replace stones of the hurricane barrier because the stones themselves became coated with toxic materials. Stuff that's so dangerous that touching it, slightly radioactive, chemicals they don't even know how to describe because every pipeline has different formulations of these chemicals. Some of the most dangerous chemicals on Earth, you know, in that time. So I just wanted to point out that the submarine fire here is actually a very small example of the kind of ongoing problems we have all along this road on Apples Avenue. It's been happening for years. So this is only the last 5 years these have happened. So thank you, everybody. I just want to...
Thank you.
That was good.
I think what Steve is saying is that Allen's Avenue is one chain reaction.
Oh,
It
yeah.
will only take one fire to kind of set this
Oh,
whole
yeah.
thing off.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Steve. Woo! Yes. And like, I'm going to add to that, some of these chemicals are so toxic that they are not allowed to be stored in Massachusetts or Connecticut. Yet we have them here. Go ahead, Sally.
What is the main stance on this? Because we are in Providence, and I can remember I sent him an email seemingly not that long after he won his post, and I asked specifically about this, and the response that I got, even though it had his name, I'm assuming it was from a staffer, was that it was important to keep this area industrial because it was a big, I guess, source of revenue.
Which is a bunch of shit and baloney because there's no good revenue here. This is bottom of the barrel shit.
Right.
Like if it was a good commerce in and out, we was an exporter, that's fine. But there's nothing. It's all bottom of the barrel stuff that nobody else wants in their community. So they throw it in there where all the black and brown folks, they're like, oh, nobody cares about it. The big issue here is that we don't have a specific port authority. Now, a lot of black and brown folks fight the port authorities in their own communities because they're so bad. But here we don't even have that. So this one is owned by somebody. That land is owned by is a quasi owned by the city and the state, or by a company in the city, or by somebody's family. So nobody knows. And it's a mumbo jumbo. So we got Proudport, it's a company, and they own like 6 plots of land. And then we have these scraps that are owned privately, and nobody knows who owns what, and nobody cares who owns what. This guy is selling his 9 acres for freaking $7.5 million. So I have asked the city to purchase that land, or the state, right? To purchase that land and make something good out of it. Remediate it and make something good out of it. So that's definitely the next big fight coming up because we want that. We want all of it. We want, my mother is ink sick, sorry. We want all of it, right? Remediated, but whatever pieces that we can't take, we're gonna take. Again, not a popular belief, or not a popular thing to do, but again, if I don't pay my taxes, or if my house is a dump, the city comes and takes it from me. So take this place and give it back to the community. Take this place. I think Cumberland Farms owns it. So take that place, 9.5 acres. Let's have a community center there. Let's have something for the youth so they can learn how to sail in the bay that's theirs. It's not just for the people on the east side or the white folks on the east side. Let's have those kids learn how to do something in the water. Sailing, boating, anything, right? Because it's right in the water. 9.5 acres, we could do a lot in the community. That's bullshit too. That truck is the same people that want to do the crap in Warwick with the recycle. Medical recycle. Same. And then they plastered their thing saying clean earth. Like, are you for real? Clean earth. And you gotta paint it green and think I just got a mouthful. Clean earth, right? And then it's gonna be like, oh, here we're clean. Whoa. Now, anyways, it's a lot, y'all. It's a lot. But we gotta be out here. Thanks to everybody for coming out. Go ahead.
Do you want to talk about the National Grid facility that they're going to be expanding down here with the liquefaction of the National Grid?
A lot of you know that's been the fight of like forever. The LNG facility. I think there's a shirt over there. No LNG activity, still no LNG. But they're really constructing it, and they're going with it, and they're constructing it, and basically it's a liquefied natural gas right here, which means that we're gonna have so much liquefied natural gas that they're gonna be able to sell it, because then National Grid is gonna be like, oh guys, we have this gas, we didn't know we're gonna have so much, which is bullshit. They knew they were gonna have so much of it, so now they're gonna become an exporter of LNG, and LNG is highly toxic, very bad. The people that buy it don't even regulate their ships that good. A lot of it is gonna be sold to China. China has really, really bad reputation of carrying their import and export with slave labor, with bad ships and all this stuff. So anyway, we're gonna get into that, and like I said, we've been fighting that fight for over 5 years now, and they're working 24/7 to build that thing. Let me tell you, because anytime you come by here, they're building. Anytime, all day, and we want good things. We're not anti-building, right? We want to build, but we want to build good things. We want to build good things that will last, that are healthy for us and for the people that work there, right? We don't want to just build everything. My husband is a union carpenter, and I want to build. I need him to build, because that's how we feed ourselves, right? And we feed our children. But let's build good stuff, healthy things for the community and for the workers.
Yeah.
How close is the nearest school, and how close are the nearest families living from here?
Right there. I live a quarter mile away. Orlando lives right there. The health center right there. The health center right there. Linda lives right there. Terry, she lives right there in the high-riser. We all live here. We're right there. They say there's no schools, there's no people. Meeting Street. Where's Meeting Street? The other side, 80th Street. Right here. The health center's right there. Rhode Island Hospital's right there.
Hasbro,
Hasbro, children fighting cancer. Children's dying of cancer.
Take a deep breath.
Right there.
And what would they describe? The city talks about a radius, a blast radius. Are they giving you how far into the city is that blast radius?
I mean, 14 miles. You can calculate. I don't know. What's 14 miles?
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, Debbie.
Hi, this is Will James for Uprise Alright. We haven't live streamed in a while. This is a rally to shut down Rhode Island recycled metals. The submarine fire recently occurred there. The People's Port Authority, led by Monica Huertas, is asking that the city eventually shut down all polluting industries in this area because there are nearby people, schools, businesses some of the highest rates of asthma in the country in this area, Washington Park.
Where do you think we could do
Probably like 30 people here, over 30. So it's important to note that, people today are raising concerns about pollution, and often the speakers have had to stop speaking because they're being blasted with dirt and smog from vehicles, or just dealing with the general polluted air that's in the area. Again, we're at Rhode Island Recycled Metals. This is where the submarine fire recently occurred. There's a submarine formerly used in a James Bond movie that caught fire while people were trying to take them out.
There's a place to
Park, Marina Park.
Some people have noted, including Steve Alquist, who's a reporter for Uprise, noted that there have been a lot of pollution incidents or disaster, the word people sometimes use. There's a truck that literally spilled and overturned right here in the center of the camera. There's like a barrier that's removed or has been knocked off. That's where the truck of fuel fell over and started spilling. And then right here on the left you have the place where the submarine fire occurred on the cycle metals. National Grid, I believe, is also building an LNG facility. The phrase here today is shut the scrap.
And the city just bought it like the gem of the city. Like they want to make it some, BNC walkway for the tourists. We can't spend that kind of money to waste on contaminated land. But this land was not healthy. Yeah. Just the air was not healthy. So we really need to push that. I mean, I know for years. But this is, it's getting to the point where the environmental racism is blatant in this state. Yes. Our brown and black children are growing up with higher lead levels and lead poisoning, asthma, everything. Yeah. And these are the statistics that need to keep being thrown at them. Yes. Especially when some of us parents don't get free medical. So when our children get sick, that's now money coming out of our pockets. For issues that could have been avoided if the environment was healthy. Yes. It is both public and part of public health is also environmental racism, right? Yes. So this is what we really need to push. Yes. When Boroughville wanted to do the power plant, my city said they didn't even want to vote against it. They were like, if it doesn't bring money or save Newport money, they wanted nothing to do with it. So I had to fight and fight and fight, and we end up in places like this on the side of the road for the contaminated land, wondering what the hell happened. How did this get this way? Who allows this? Who makes mixed-use residential areas? They're doing it in Newport. I live in the North End. They want to make us mixed-use residential area or gentrify us out. All these companies bring pollution. It's not bringing revenue, as Monica said. They're trying to say it brings revenue to the state. It does not bring anything to the state except health problems for our brown, black, and indigenous youth and our elderly. Because this is why people have COPD. This is why people end up on oxygen and they can't breathe. They can't breathe. So something really needs to be done. And Joy Boyer is my senator. I know her personally. She's cut me off with my testimony. I don't want to tell her. was voted in, I was hoping she would be a progressive. She's not a progressive. We don't need any fake liberal centrists and moderates. We need progressives. We need people who are going to take the state and move it forward. Because we need green energy. Our coastline is shrinking. Everything's shrinking and everything's polluted. What the hell is that going to do for us?
Yeah, that's right.
It's not going to do anything. Like you said, my husband works at the Newport Yacht Club. A yacht club would be perfect here. That would bring revenue. That would bring programs for the black and brown children in this area. Teach them how to sail. Teach them how to water. Just water safety. So many kids don't even have that opportunity here. And that's a shame because we're on the water.
Right.
So hopefully everybody can leave here doing a little bit of their own part and it comes together for a cohesive movement so that we can just tell them, you don't vote for these 3 bills, you don't help make this a progressive state, you're out. You're out. And it's not a threat, it's a promise.
That's
After
right.
he can shove his threat up his ass.
Could you just for our listeners just tell your name and where folks can find you on the web?
Monica Huertas at the People's Court Authority on Facebook.
Okay. And is the no PPD?
Yeah, no LNG and PPD. That's the new name is the People's Court Authority because we knew it wasn't just about LNG, but it's about the whole port and the cumulative impact of this. Thank you very much. I want to tell y'all that somebody asked me about somebody from Newport speaking, and why are they bringing up senators from Newport? And what I'm telling you is that these people are on, say, environmental committee or health committee. They're not making decisions just for wherever they're elected at or in Newport. They're making decisions for all of us here. So that's why, hell yeah, it's relatable and it's relevant, okay? Thank you.
That's right.
Susanna, come here. Tell the people your name, where you from, what you doing. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Susanna. Thank you. Alright, can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Alright, so my name is Susanna Yim. I am a resident of Rhode Island. I was born and raised here. And growing up, I had bronchitis. Every year, I'd miss so many days of school because I was too sick to go. And this bronchitis, the cause behind it was polluted air. This wasn't something that my parents could control. This wasn't something that my community had power over to minimize from happening. That was just a situation. And I'm not the only child who has suffered from this polluted air. I don't know if I had asthma, but I did know that I definitely was not grown up in this place where I had quality air. I didn't know if I had drinkable water. And, you know, I'm 26 years old now, and we're still fighting these issues. Right. We're still fighting these issues from when I suffered from when I was a child. It's ridiculous that we are still having to come out here and say enough is enough. I'm so tired of it.
Yeah.
But we're still here, and we're still gonna fight and let people know that national grid is not on our side. It is not natural clean air. But it shouldn't be up to us to have to inform the public that, right? The truth should be told to us, right? And every single person deserves, I believe every single person deserves access to drinkable water.
That's right.
A livable future. Breathable air. But who's going to be the one that's going to make things great? It's us, right? And so, we have to fight for it. Right, we have to fight for it. Whether you're on the left or on the right, this issue touches every single life. And so, I hope that if you're listening and if you're standing here and think about the people who are suffering from these issues every single day. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Watch out for this. Yeah.
Sorry, no, sorry.
Hi everyone, I'm Sarah. I'm from Los Angeles and I'm a medical student here. There's really nothing that I can bring to the table that you guys don't already know. Like, this is dangerous to our health, this is dangerous to our community's health. There's nothing that I can do in the hospital or in the clinic that is so important, that would be so impactful than shutting this down. Yes! 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 We have to shut this down. We have to shut down Line 3 if we actually really want to be healers, to protect our communities. We know that climate justice is racial justice, and we know that we need that for our health. So that's all I can bring from the health perspective, and thank you for everything that you do to organize and all of you guys do.
Thank you. Yes, absolutely. We need to do that. Coming out here to support, because again, this is so intersectional, right? It's with all of us. It affects all of us. Oh yes, Terry, right?
My name is Terry Wright. I'm the organizer of the Tenant Homeowners Association. There does support Scrap the Yard. I'm here in the middle of all this is Rhode Island Hospital. I'm here to tell you, if you care anything about the children, if you care anything about the seniors, if you care anything about the community, if you care anything about Rhode Island, you will shut the scrap. Yes. People over profit.
That's right. Yes. That's right.
So shut the scrap.
Yes.
Shut it down. Thank you.
Thank you, Terry. Woo! Anybody else?
Can I just say one thing, Monica?
Absolutely.
You know, to Taylor Ellis from South Kingstown. I worked for a few years at the Fields Point wastewater treatment plant. You know, the people of Providence especially have funded a huge combined sewer overflow project to protect the bay. That meant increased rates for your sewer bills. And all of us in Rhode Island benefited from that, people down the bay in really nice communities like the one I live in that are free of a lot of these air contamination issues. There's been hundreds of millions of dollars spent on the CSO project. There's been hundreds of millions of dollars spent on upgrades of the Fields Point and the Buckland Point wastewater treatment facilities to take out nutrients, to try to cut the plankton from growing, excess plankton from the bay. We've invested all of this to protect the bay and the life forms there. But what have we done for the people 2 blocks from here? We haven't done anything substantial. We let this stand. The politicians let it stand. We shouldn't stand for it anymore.
That's right. Thank you. Yes. Yes. How you doing? Woo! Thank you. Yeah, so like I said, it's intersectional, y'all. It affects all of us. We know it affects us, black and brown folks, at a higher rate. And we know that the solutions are going to come from the community as well, We can throw out a lot of ideas, and we can throw out the visions that we personally have for the poor. But if it doesn't have community input, if it doesn't have community buy-in, it's nothing. Right? David, come on. Yeah, David, please.
Sorry, I'm gonna try to speak up.
Yeah, David, yo.
So I'm an environmental justice organizer. I represent a lot of organizations, a big supporter of the People's Port Authority. I'm also with the Rhode Island Interfaith Coalition to Reduce Poverty. I mention those things together because for us, we believe that We have a moral obligation to fight environmental racism, as we see here today. Like Monica and many of the other speakers that spoke, it is not by accident that this is happening to this community.
That's right.
It is by design. It's about institutional racism that allows black and brown children to be poisoned for this long and it be acceptable.
That's right.
A lot of us always against it. We always say this is bad, but it's still here. For people that live in this community, it's about life and death. It's about being impacted every day. Parents like Monica, whose children have asthma, it disrupts their lives. Not only does it impact their children, but they have to take time off of work to go to the hospital. It affects how much they're working. It affects their income. They have to worry about their housing. It's all connected, everyone. This is not something that is just going to be about this plant, but it's going to be about systematic change for this community, making sure that we are valuing black and brown people just as much as everyone else.
That's right.
And I thank you, Monica, for putting on this event, and everyone who's here. It doesn't end here. Make sure you get politically involved. Make sure that you continue to support the work that Monica and the other organizers from this community do. Thank you.
Thank you, David. All right, y'all. One more time. Shut the strap! 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 Shut the strap!
Yeah. Shut it all down.
Hi again, this is Will James, Uprise RI. We are at a rally to shut down Rhode Island Recycled Metals where the recent submarine fire occurred. Also encouraging the city to shut down all polluting industries, which is near neighborhoods and other people.
Pop up on my, even you go in there with these as reporters, although they're dropping like flies lately. That's a bummer about Tim, huh? We need somebody. Although the two is still on our way. It's gotta be able to
Oh, I know.
There's a lot of stuff going on.
Believe me, as the pressure goes up, they're going to get me.
Yeah,
Right?
and I get an email from somebody sent me an email that they from the state house, the state lobby. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
the speaking portion is wrapped up, but I'm going to keep rolling for a little bit to see if anyone else steps up to talk or something interesting happens. I believe the person directly in front of me is Gonzalo Cuervo, who is intending to run for mayor of Providence. Getting better and we're going out more and doing political activities outside. I don't know what to expect this time. I really don't. I have no idea what's going to Yeah. I'm guessing things. Yeah, I don't think this is over what happened last year. And you said there's going to be there's another event in Burnside Park. You picked the date for that? Or do you know if it's yeah, hopefully I can make time for that.
I mean, I'll be there too, so you want me to send stuff?
Yeah, no, that'd be really great. Yeah, it's kind of far, but
I know,
yeah. I know. As if like 30 minutes is far for Rhode Island anyway, but like it's like that Rhode Island attitude.
Yeah.
Too far.
Yeah. Did you cross me in Rhode Island?
Kind of. I lived here for a while when I was in kindergarten. My parents moved to like southeastern New Mexico.
Okay.
Like all of my family is here, so like I just stay in front of it.
Yeah.
Like, living in like on the border, I feel like I don't really like it.
Right. Great.
Well, Boston's like an hour and a half away.
Right. Right.
I guess I should end this. Hi again, this is Will James from Uprise RI. We are at a rally to shut down Rhode Island recycled metals. It's a facility where the recent submarine fire occurred. People spoke, asking Senator John Oyer to step down or to be replaced because she's not speaking with the people in this community. She chairs the Environment Committee, but she's from Newport. There are also people telling personal stories about growing up here and having lung issues. You can always scroll back and see these later. We really appreciate all of our Patreon supporters. It allows Steve to pay his bills. I get paid sometimes. We buy equipment. Yeah, we really appreciate your support. If you're not someone who's a supporter yet and you like our stuff, we definitely appreciate your support. So Patreon link is in the bio. Have a great day.
You're better than I don't.
I think there's like a couple different entrances.
I think this is the front entrance.
Is it?
Yeah, I'm live streaming. Yeah, it's called it's a gimbal Osmo. It's like $100. It's pretty good. Yeah, it makes it so that it's stable. So like, when we're following the protest or something, running, like it literally stays perfectly straight. Yeah, it's not that expensive. It's like $100. I mean, that's a lot for like, yeah, what it does, yeah.
I know, it's a complicated issue, isn't it?
I think it's ending soon. Like I think it's wrapping up.
She said you were going to stay here to shut down.
What's out here? So Monica
people are staying after the speaking portion has ended. They're just talking to each other about how to stay connected and do political work. Some kids came by on bikes. They say they want to bring their family over. I'm not sure if they'll get back in time before everyone leaves, but